Welcome back, guys. I'm hosting this time. Here with Jeff again. He's here with another deck profile video. And what do you got for us, Jeff?
So I'm so glad you're here doing this with me because I was thinking about this earlier today. I have Blue Flare. I have a Blue Flare update. And for those of you that have been following the channel the past couple weeks, we've been really talking about this. Pasadena, November 12th regionals. Really talking about going down there. Not playing our my famous Tomb Jank. I'm not going to be showing up with Raidenmon, unfortunately, as much as I want to. So I'm bringing some meta. I'm bringing some Blue Flare, and I've been really liking this deck. But why I'm happy you're here is I had the first Blue Flare video on the channel. You've had our last one.
Oh, yeah.
And they were completely different, and I really like the way you approach Blue Flare in the text, so I wanted your feedback on my list.
Okay.
So let's dive into it. I think I've sent you this picture. I might have changed one or two cards because I feel like I change it every day, and if I end up changing for the regionals, I'll talk about it in a podcast. If you are not subscribed to the channel, jump on. We're almost to 2,000K subscribers.
So close.
So close.
Like what, 40, 30 people?
Like 10 people. We are,
people?
as of right now, filming 10 people away from 2K. So I will be sure to give you guys all the updates and keep things going. For me, I don't play a 5th egg. I've seen some lists play a 5th egg.
Yeah.
I really think Blue Flare is just so fast, just aggressive. If you need to get to that 5th egg, you've
lost.
You've kind of lost the game. Yes, you can kind of ink it out, but it really comes down to your management of your resources, your level 3s, etc. But Wanyamon is so good, and the fact that this set, BT11, is so far the only set where Common's got a foil is really interesting. So I have a foil Common egg.
I'm glad.
I'm pretty glad for it. Yeah. Next, level 3, I think this is a no-brainer for a lot of people on their list. It is 4 of the original, not the BT5 red Gaussmon, but the BT10 Blue Flare Gaussmon.
Right.
On deletion, you may play one level 4 with Blue Flare and its trace from your hand, suspended without playing its play cost. I can't imagine what this deck would be like without this card. I feel like so much of the strength comes from this little guy right here, how much he does for the deck, because he can bring so much value with on plays of your level 4. Because when you first look at the on plays of some of the level 4s, you're like, I don't really want to hard play it. But then when you triggered off that, it's way better.
Because you know they're going to die, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a 1K. Right? And next is the newest member of the Blue Flare level 3s, the Gaussmon from EX4. Your turn, once per turn, when a card with Blue Flare trait is played, draw 1. Newsflash, guys, if you've been watching my gameplay, you may have noticed I forgot the whole second half of this text, so let me clarify and read this for everybody. When a card with Twilight is played, return 1 Digimon card with a Digi-Cross requirement from your trash to your hand. This Gaussmon is insane. So he sees himself, first of all. If you were to hard play himself, he counts as a Blue Flare being played, so you draw 1 card. And then if you leave him on the field, and let's say you set up your dual Tamer, which, you know, spoiler alert, it's our only Twilight in the deck, you can then re-grab a MetalGreymon out of trash. So that just gives us another way to recycle the MetalGreymon to make the deck even more efficient. I mean, you have to play this Gaussmon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were reviewing some Blue Flare lists last night, and we did see one that was playing the Dracomon over this Gaussmon. And if you're watching, guys, you got to do 4 of this before you get to Dracomon. I'm telling you. I think most people agree that these are the common level 3s.
Because the Draco doesn't see itself.
Draco doesn't see itself.
It's another Blue Flare.
It specifically says another, and it doesn't allow you to grab anything from trash. Yes, it has an inheritable, but very rarely are you actually going to use the inheritables in level 3s in this deck. So, now, I watched an awesome video. You may have seen it. The guy who went 8-0 at the Texas Regional with Blue Flare, he was playing 10 level 3s. And I really like his reasoning where he was like, I'm going to be aggressive. You're going to kind of do a pseudo-rookie rush with, even though it's only 10 level 3s, get him out, get those swings, get aggressive early on, helps you with your draw. This is the one time you're going to hear me say it on this channel where I think less is more as far as level 3s, right? So I'm actually not playing any more level 3s.
Oh, really?
I was tinkering with 9, and I really liked 9, but I decided that I wanted to increase my consistency with the level 4s, and I sacrificed for that.
Okay.
But we'll dive into our first level 4. It is the red Security Attack Greymon as a 4 of. I think we just covered on the podcast. There was a deck list that got 3rd. They were only playing 3 of this Greymon, and I see the reasoning.
There was another deck list that did play 4, though.
Yeah, and there's some that play 4, some that play 3, some that play 2. And personally, I think it comes down to what you prefer as your personal preference.
How risky you want to get.
How
much you want to whiff on the blazing boost.
You know, sometimes it feels like you lose if you don't get that Security Attack Greymon, which is why I like it as a 4 of, because you get it quicker.
Right.
And to me, Blue Flare is an aggressive deck. That happens to have control elements built in. So on accident, almost. right? I'm
Yeah.
going to hard play the MetalGreymon for 3, hopefully, with security attack plus and jamming, and I'm going to go wild. That's what the deck does. That's what I want to do. Everything else is almost second nature.
Right.
You do have to have some more Greymons, and they are of the blue variety this time. So I am playing 4 of the blue Greymon from BT10. It's a staple in the deck as well. I don't think this can go anywhere. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 with blue flare in the traits, place the rest at the bottom. However, if you have the Tamer in play, you can grab a MetalGreymon from your trash instead.
Right.
So I think it's really important, guys, that you remember that. If you
read your
the
cards.
first check, if let's say the first, because I had this happen to me in a couple games, even when that was recorded, my first security was a MetalGreymon that I needed, and you can grab it back with that as long as you have the Tamer, right? So it's good to have ways to kind of recycle your main aggro attacker in this deck. The inheritable is really nice on this, but I do think people are good enough, especially probably at the regional level that we're going to go to play around it, but it still can come up. When attacking, once per turn, if this Digimon has blue flare in its traits and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, unsuspend this Digimon.
Yep.
So it's very strong. I like some of the cards that allow you to tuck just a random blue flare from your hand to your Tamers, like the level 5s that we have, that you can sometimes then tuck this Greymon as you already have security attack plus 1. So then you're swinging twice for 2 checks.
Yep.
It's really satisfying. It's a great way to play the deck for sure.
And then you go to Zeke after that.
Yeah. And then you go to Zeke and you're like, hopefully you win, right? This is where I might differ from a lot of people. So I'm actually playing 9 total Greymons, 5 of them being blue.
I play the blue one.
I think
that's about what my spread is too.
I really like this as a one of. It's not the best searcher. It's not the worst. It's ideally but it's a one of, right? So it's like, hopefully that is not your only move in the game. And sometimes I've had it where that is my only move and it hurts when it whiffs. But what I really like about this, right, is reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Kihiria, 1 blue or black card, Digicross requirement, trash the rest. So we do have ways to play with the trash, with the dual Tamer, grabbing cards with the Gaussmon if we need to. It does get what you need, but he's got on deletion save. But what I really like is his inheritable. When attacking, draw 1, and that's not once per turn.
Right.
So if you unsuspend, right, you can draw a card. So this has really helped me when I needed pieces, when I'm like, I have no other Greymons, and we're just going to use it early so we can start drawing a bunch of cards and start setting myself up, and I feel like it's done me a lot of work. Now this, I think, is also a point that people probably coming to watch this video are, how many male Bergermons are you playing? I'll just lay them all out right now.
I'm going to guess 6.
That is what most people play.
Okay.
And this is where I'm taking things a different direction.
Bam it up a notch.
I'm going 7.
Okay.
So to me, the main reason why I've cut down on my level 3s and cut down on some other pieces you'll see in the deck is I wanted to increase my consistency.
Right.
The whole point of this deck, your main attacker, is to get that MetalGreymon going fast and early. Right? You want to get there before they get a black or gray setup and it's completely impeding, right? You want to get there before they've had a chance to establish their board presence, right? So having extra male Bergermon, extra Greymon compared to normal allows you to get to that MetalGreymon quickly and have the pieces when you're ready. This on play of the male Bergermon's not that great. I try not to use it if I don't have to. One of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest level gains lose 2 memory when it attacks. Does have save. Obviously, jamming is what makes this so good. 4 jammings, 4 security attack plus 1. I feel like I hit it quite a lot with the MetalGreymon, and it's just devastating.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even think back in BT10, because I've been a fan of this deck since BT10.
Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined getting jamming for this MetalGreymon.
It's
like,
insane.
it already seemed like the deck was so strong. Now you're telling me I have jamming as well?
Yeah, I know when we saw that card and we're in the pre-release, we're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And you made a great
2 checks
point.
jamming?
Yeah. And you made a great point in one of our earlier videos where it's just generic jamming. It doesn't say if you have blue flare. It doesn't say any requirements. It's just jamming. So it's sick. I do like the original BT10 male Bergermon, though. So that is why I'm playing
the on-play is better.
Yeah, the on-play is great. If you have Kihiria in play, you may return 1 MetalGreymon to trash to your hand. Really important. Allows you to recycle that piece. If you don't have a Kihiria, you may play 1 Kihiria. So it's really nice when you can get those Tamers out for free. I still like it as a 3 of. I can see the argument why you'd go down to 2. I even see some lists that play 3 of each of them. And to me, I feel like the jamming
Jamming
is
you need
so
4 of.
important. Why would you not play it as a
You
4
need
of?
you
So
need 4 of the jamming.
if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. Let us know in the comments what your level 4 split looks like, how many of the Red Greymon you're playing, how many of each male Bergermon you're playing, because I do think it differs a lot based on preference and how you've been playing the deck, right?
Right. Well, like, and here's the thing: on your level 3, your Gaussmon on the Legion one, you can search through ideally in your one turn 12 cards maybe.
Yeah.
Because if you're digivolving, if you raise it, it swings. You play the Greymon out, search another 4, and then you could play a Blazing after that. Like it's and then you just search most of your deck at that point. Turn 1.
Yeah. You're just like, are you serious? No, so great point. On Deletion Gaussmon, I prefer to play out this BT10 Greymon. That's the one I generally prefer.
Right.
It's really nice, too, when you have both of these Greymons in hand and you still, you swing at the Gaussmon first, you're at 3 memory, it dies, you play the Greymon, you grab that MetalGreymon you needed or the male Bergermon you needed or whatever. Then you hard play the Greymon, the MetalGreymon, without using this as a Digicross material, so you still have a second body on board.
Right.
Then you swing with Rush for 2 checks jamming, and you just have this overwhelming board presence so early on in the game. This male Bergermon, I do play kind of towards the end of the game with the Gaussmon ability, just because, when you swings and it dies, you get to play a free body, right? Well, that grabs a MetalGreymon out of trash, right? So that's what I go for. I like it as a 3 of. Again, would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Now, if you may notice, this is it for my level 4s.
Right.
Where's Decker? That is such a tough call. And I think that when you're building Blue Flare, first of all, you need to try both ways, with the Decker package, without the Decker package. To me, where the game is at now, back in BT10 and BT11 and maybe I preferred the Decker package. I really liked it. The MetalGreymon X Antibody package is incredible too. I'm a huge fan of that. But I think Cyber Launcher is the best out of all those 3 options. That's kind of what I've decided to focus on. And not necessarily, I'm going to play it as a 4 of or whatever, but I'm just not playing any Deckers.
Cool.
I found that if you play DeckerGreymon, you end up having to fit in 2 Decker draws, and sometimes, yes, it's nice when you play and draw 2 cards.
If you cross.
Yeah, it's just like, I feel like I'd rather have those pieces be male Bergermon or Greymon. So that's kind of my thought process, right? For the boss himself, this card is incredible. He is the main attacker. He is the bread and butter of the deck. Most of the time, when you play your Blazing Memory Boost and you reveal these, you kind of have to grab them. Obviously, it depends on the game situation, whether you have in hand what you've seen before, if you have potential to get him out of trash later, whatever. But most of the time, this is the main card you're going to get.
Yep.
So first of all, Material Save 2. When this Digimon is deleted, you may place 2 cards from his Digicross conditions underneath a Tamer. So it's really nice to be able to save a Greymon and a male Bergermon so you can do it again. On play, he gains Rush for the turn. Otherwise, this deck would suck, I think.
Right.
I don't think he would play it if they don't have Rush. Then if Digicrossing 3 of your opponent's Digimon with Digivolution cards less than or equal to this Digimon's Digivolution cards cannot attack or block to the end of your opponent's turn. So it does a great job of stopping their little bodies, or if they go wide, or if they're hard playing big attackers, or whatever. As long as they have 2 or less sources, right? It does a great job stunning them. But this card to me defines what this deck is. I know that's obvious, but this deck is an aggro deck. This card gains Rush. It wants you to play this for the 3 memory, and it wants you to swing that turn. And it just so happens to have some stunning built in. Ideally, to stop a menacing blocker or something where it's not going to be able to do that damage it needs to do.
Well, it also stalls for a turn too if they do have a level 4 out. Then even if they Digivolve, that still can't attack.
Absolutely. And so to support the strategy, I am playing 2 of the newest MetalGreymon from EX4. I mean, I don't think I can think of another archetype in the Digimon card game right now where they printed another level 5 with basically the exact same ability with the exact same cost that can support the deck and does the exact same thing. So to me, it's a mind-blowing card. On play, this Digimon gains Rush for the turn. And it also, if you Digicross, trash up to 2 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. That's another thing, guys, I forgot in our gameplay videos because I'm so used to seeing what this does and looking at the picture and just doing it that I don't even think about trashing sources. So this does trash up to 2. It doesn't say from the top, doesn't say from the bottom. There's no errata. You picked the 2. So it's crazy how useful that can be. I imagine going against an ace card in the sources. I know if you guys have seen my deck profile videos, my last one actually was Ace Megazoo, right? Could you imagine stripping, Overflow 4 from a Zwart or something, a Zwart defeat, or whatever's coming up in the future, that the level 5 ace cards. And then,
there's level 4 ace cards. Or no, it's level 5 metal.
Yeah. That all of a sudden you gain 4 memory. This netted you a memory when you hard played. That's crazy to me.
I think another key thing to note on that card too, it says this Digimon gains rush. It's not rush printed,
and that's true for both of these guys.
This Digimon gains rush, so that means you can go on top of it in the even if like you want to go into Decker or Cyber Launcher or something.
Yep.
Not Decker, the Zeke.
Yep.
It's gonna have rush, so that's very, very important to pay attention to, especially if you're playing against it. No, if they Digivolve, it still has rush.
Yeah, I mean, this whole deck is menacing. Very fast, very quick. Has the same material, save 2.
Mm-hmm.
Does have a similar Digicross, where this one's Digicross -2 for a Greymon and Male Bergermon. This one is Digicross 2 for a Blue Greymon. So that's another reason why I decided to go to a 5th Greymon.
Yep.
I think if you're watching this and you kind of see my options at the end, and I'll talk about tech spots and things you can put in to make the deck better, don't worry. You could remove that, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that consistency aspect of it, so that's what I go for. My last level 5 in the deck, it is 3 MetalGreymon Cyber Launchers.
Makes sense. I've
seen tons of different ways to play this deck, and I think it all comes down to how much experience you have with the deck and kind of what your scene is doing. DeckerGreymon, besides being one of my favorite Digimon, he's so cool looking to me. He kind of falls out of place because this can bounce a level 3 or a level 4 to the bottom of your owner's deck. What is the biggest weakness of this deck?
Floodgates.
CheckGreymon, Psychmon, right? You need to be able to get rid of that.
Solarmon.
So I just have times where I have a level 4 on board for whatever reason. I just Digivolve for 4, pass it to him at 1, if I have a memory setter, or even having 4 memory with the dual tamer setup combo too, right? Where I'll bounce their little floodgate, get it out of the way, and I'm good to go.
Right.
You can have the potential to bounce a level 4, so that's part of the reason you have level 3 of these in the deck. Not like the main reason, but I just found so much use for this. Or if like you're going against Death X, and let's say your MetalGreymon's the only thing on board, but you can Digivolve, so you have Armor Purge that helps get around that. It helps against security control matchup if they're, playing a more traditional, which sometimes you don't see, like a lot of times just Chaos Dag, or a lot of times it's Wyvern's Breath with Armor Purge gets
Long
around,
Kai, or whatever that yellow card is, nobody can pronounce.
If you're just worried, like if you don't have jamming, you can put Armor Purge on a MetalGreymon.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to draw a card. Sometimes you just want to Digivolve, for 2, draw a card, whatever. But the Decker package is out. I loved the Decker package. I was very attached to it. I loved my BT10, EX, whatever, Blue Flare list, but this is where it's at right now.
Nice.
To follow it up, we are playing 2 of the ZekeGreymon. Yep. This card is like everything I've wanted in a Blue Flare list. If you've known me, if you've seen my first Blue Flare list, I put in CyberDramon because I loved paying 3 to unsuspend and getting another check.
We didn't have the pieces either. Yeah. You had to play the CyberDramon.
Yeah. We didn't have nearly as many options.
We didn't have EX4.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that did quickly kind of find its way out, or it ended up just being a one-of for fun or whatever. This ZekeGreymon's perfect for the deck. It unsuspends, costs 1 less than the CyberDramon, potentially free if they have 2 or more Digimon, right? But what's great about not playing the Decker package is now I have all of these
consistency
that are MetalGreymon in name, right? Yep. The name of this card also counts as MetalGreymon and CyberDramon.
Yep.
To where ZekeGreymon can Digivolve for 2 on any of those level 5s and unsuspend, So even if you have to crack a memory boost, right? Let's say you're at 3, you hard play the MetalGreymon, you go to 0, you swing, you live, crack
they have 1 Digimon.
Boom. Yeah, there you go. ZekeGreymon it's so versatile. It's incredible in the deck. And I have seen some lists that are playing 3 of it, and I see why. But I really feel like I've been doing good with 2.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Cyber Launcher. I've seen lists that play 2. I've been liking the 3. I encourage you to try it at 3. It was definitely one of those cards I thought I was going to be at 2 of, but the more I play it, the more I stick with where I'm at. So. I have 1 more Digimon in the deck, and this is
oh boy, let's go.
And this is the funny one in my opinion.
Let's go.
Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode.
How much value have you gotten out of that, Jeff?
So as of right now,
you did top the last locals you went to.
I did win the last locals with this, but this didn't do me anything in the locals. It's literally a tech for 2 deck matchups, right? Potentially a third, right?
Okay.
And I'll get into that in a sec. So in locals, I did use it last week against Royal Knights because I was like, well, I don't see a way out of this. I'm just going to drop it so I can kind of get some experience with the card and see what happens. And then my thought process was, well, if I have a 17K, they won't be able to get rid of it, blah, blah, blah. It didn't help me. It was, but for the MachineDreymon matchup,
okay,
for the DeckerGreymon matchup, that's what this is for, right? This, in my opinion, those are the decks that beat this deck all the time.
For those who don't know.
For those who don't know, yeah. So absolutely. So for example, let's talk about MachineDreymon because a week before I won the locals, I was playing basically a different version of the deck. I think I was doing the Decker package. And I remember having the Decker package in hand, and I was like, okay, great. So I can stop his MachineDreymon from blocking, but he still has 3 analog mans that can redirect the attack, right? And I was like, okay, let's say I can get around 3 analog. How do I get around 3 analog mans in one turn and still get enough aggression? This deck doesn't do 10 attacks in one turn. Right. This deck does 1 to 2
and it's
swings.
Not that big bodies.
They're not big bodies. So it's once that MachineDreymon or once that Black War Gray with all the redirects, with all the blockers, and the unsuspend, right? Yes, a lot of times it's like, okay, sure, I'll bait you to use the blocker once, but then how do I get another check-in if you just unsuspend or analog mana redirect it? Let's talk about Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode. So I actually saw this list. I was on DigimonCardMeta.com, and I was looking through the list for Blue Flare. I love that website. You guys, if you don't use that website, it's a great resource, valuable for top decks of almost anything. Like, you're probably not going to find a lot of jank on there just because they're not really topping events, right? And so if you want to find Blue Flare lists, go through and see everybody's Blue Flare lists, what they won, what they play. And I think they played this more in like that Kuzahumon Kaiser Nail package where they were going to, tuck it underneath, bring it out, get a lot of value out of it. And I see why. But when I saw this card, I was like, that's my answer to MachineDreymon and Black War Gray. Because I'll just read the card since I don't have it memorized.
A lot of text.
So when you would play this card by placing 1 Shoutmon, I do want to make a quick ruling announcement. I thought it'd be hilarious if I could steal my opponent's Shoutmon. Ruling says you can't do that.
Right.
So, sorry guys, I had the same thought. From play as a Digivolution card, you can reduce the cost by 1, and then you can place cards in your trash as Digivolution cards for Digicross. So, no Shoutmons in the deck. I'm not going to be able to use cards from trash without using my Dual Tamer, because I can use my Dual Tamer for Digicross materials. And I won't be able to reduce the cost by 1, right? But I'll still be able to reduce the cost by 1 for all of the other materials that I have. This is why the card's good. On play, return all the Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck in any order, and then you return that Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. So, ChaosDreymon, MachineDreymon, Black War Gray, all of their sources, they have ways to protect themselves. They can MachineDreymon, strip 2 5s to prevent, leaving play. Black War Gray, strip 2 of the same level, or strip the X antibody. Right, they have all of those ways to get around the protections. Where even if I figure out how to get around this or whatever, they can just remove it. So to me, this is like a really expensive option that I'm using for those matchups, and that's it.
Because they only have the 1 stack usually.
They only have that 1 big stack, and I do have the potential to give them. Let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different blue flares. So I can reduce the play cost up to 10, make it a 5 cost. Doesn't really. Usually it's about 6 or 7 I get when I reduce it using the Tamers from trash and stuff like that. But and then it's just a ginormous 17K body on the field. One of the highest DPs in the game. I think Reaper is the only card. Reaper is the only card I think beats it, right? No. Reaper's 20, right?
15, isn't it?
I don't.
Mother D Reaper is 15.
Not Mother. The white whatever.
15.
It is? Okay. Somebody commented that on our last podcast when I made the joke that this was the highest DP in the game.
Pretty sure it is.
So I was like, well, let me correct myself.
In the English game, let's just do that.
Yeah,
what Japan crazy shenanigans will have by the time this comes out.
So anyways, and then also, your turn, all of your opponent's security options do not activate. So now all of a sudden,
security control is bumped.
Security control is bumped. So this is also kind of cool in the security control matchup. Do not get me wrong, but Jesse and I were doing some testing last night against security control, and this card is not what won me against security control matchup. I feel that this has pretty strong matchup against security control if you're just fast and aggressive with little dudes anyways, but it can help. So that's it for Digimon in the deck.
Cool.
This is a tech spot if you like an option that you really think goes in the deck well, or if you don't like the idea of, well, I don't want to have only one answer to Black or Gray, MachineDreymon, whatever. One last thing. Sorry, this just popped in mind. He's a blue flare. He's searchable.
Yeah.
He's searchable. So There are many games, though, that I do wish that I had Blitz Omni. And if Blitz Omni was searchable, 100% would be in the deck. Because there's so many times where I go 2 checks, Metal Gray, unsuspend, ZekeGreymon, 2 checks, ready to go to Blitz to win the game. But it's just not searchable, so it's a little inconsistent. But let's dive into Tamers. We're playing 3 of the BT10. Christopher Kahiria, whatever name you know him by, here he is. He is looking all sassy over there. Start of your turn. If you have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3. When you would play one Digimon with Digicross, suspend this Tamer. You may use cards from under your Tamers as Digivolution cards for Digicross. So it's really nice to have Tamer set up in this deck for the save, to be able to reuse the pieces, to be able to, you know, kind of have like a second hand, kind of similar underneath your Tamers for Digicross materials. So it's really, really helpful. It is important to notice that he is the only general of the deck. So even though the dual Tamers in here is not considered a general, so ZekeGreymon's on deletion of save, then place 1 blue Greymon and 1 blue male Bergermon from trash under your Tamers to trash. Does not apply to that, to the dual Tamer here, but it does apply to everything else.
Right.
So like I said, this is a Twilight. It is a blue flare, so it's great to trigger both of the Gaussmon abilities here. I love this card, and I've been really liking the 3-3 split after seeing a bunch of the deck lists where they commit to 4 of one and 2 of the other, right, or vice versa. That's the direction I thought I was going to go, and that's the direction where I was like, I think I'm going to do 4 of this and 2 of this, and I was originally thinking 4 of the setter because you want to be at 3 for the Metal Gray.
I feel like, if anything, you do go 4 of the duel and 2 of the others, just because
it's 2 different opinions right here, right?
Well, I play that split in my deck, but like I almost want to just switch it because of that recurring from trash. Like people are starting talking about teching in the Omnimon Merciful mode.
Yeah, just then get rid of the trash.
But it's also like there's enough searching. My hand's gonna be 20 cards deep by the time you even mess with my trash. You think I really care? So guess what? I'm just gonna search it. I'm just gonna search it back out.
Exactly.
Go ahead and Merciful mode. It's expensive.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. I'm a big fan of this card.
It's so good.
What I am not a fan of is playing any other Tamers right now in this deck.
Oh, no, of course not.
I was a big fan of the triple Tamer, the white Tamer, when it came out in BT11, I think.
Oh, the 3,
BT11.
You tuck a blue flare and draw 1.
Yeah, or cross hard.
Gain a memory, I think.
You draw 1, gain a memory. And that was obviously really good in the deck, and that was in this spot, but I still think this was a 4 of because you have Blazing Memory Boost to play Tamers.
Right.
This takes that spot, becomes a 3 of instead of a 2 of. It's just better. I'm sorry, guys. I really wanted to try the triple Tamer, but it's just the answer.
It's too good.
Start of your main phase. If there are 2 or more Digimon to play, gain 1 memory. What's great about this is raising phase happens before the main phase. So if you promote at level 3, they have 1 body. There's 2 Digimon because it doesn't say just your opponent's side. You gain that memory, so it's really useful. This ability, it's a little tricky sometimes. When you would play a Digimon with Blue Flare or Twilight, there's no Twilight Digimon. With Digicross, by suspending this Tamer, you may place 1 card from under your Tamers and 1 card from under your trash. I think the ruling is you have to pick 1 from under your Tamer first. So let's say you have the incorrect, quote-unquote, male Bergermon underneath, but you have the good Greymon you want out of trash. I still think you have to grab that male Bergermon first, then you can grab the Greymon from trash. You can't be like, well, there's a Digimon I don't want to use underneath my Tamers, but there's 1 in trash and 1 in hand I want to use. So I'm not 100% sure on that ruling. Let me know in the comments. I've been playing it like, okay, I have to pick from one of my Tamers first, then from one of my trash. So just be a little bit careful with that. I'm definitely curious about the ruling. Maybe I'll get a little bit more insight on that. Who knows? And then there's only 8 cards left in the deck, and they are all options.
Yep, of course.
And I think everyone knows the 4 Blazing Memory Boost. It's
100%.
It's too good. The only question I have about this card is why is the Event Pack 4, Event Pack 5 version so crappy? It's just like all the blue Event Pack card for options are just like, oh, well, the option's already blue in the background.
Yeah.
So that's my only question. But this card's amazing. Reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards of blue flare in the traits among them to your hand. You may play 1 Kahiria, aka either one of these, because this name of this card, Tamer, is also treated as Kahiria. And then you grab 2 blue flare cards that you've searched, and then you send the rest to the bottom of your deck. You place that in your battle area. You can delay it to gain 2 memory. So tons of blue flare here. So blue flare, blue flare, blue flare, blue flare, blue flare, blue flare, blue flare.
Greymon's the only one that is.
Greymon's the only thing that's not. So it sucks when you kind of whiff on your Greymons.
Because you can grab another boost too off that.
You can grab another boost, and I do that quite a lot.
Oh yeah,
I do that quite a lot to set up moves when I need to. But as you play the deck, you kind of
especially if you don't hit a Tamer.
Yeah,
you're grabbing that boost.
Last card in my deck, Sore Eyes.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what I can say about this, like in a positive way, where it's like, oh yeah, Sorai is just you need it. It's just too needed right now.
Begrudgingly, I have to play it. Like somebody asked in Discord, I'm like, I'd rather not play Sorai if it wasn't meta. But if I want to win, I got to play Sorai.
Exactly. So we are talking about regionals prep, Pasadena, California, November 12th.
I'm playing on Saturday.
Yeah, you're playing on this Saturday coming up. So
at the time of
you
filming.
have to be competitive, right? You absolutely have to be competitive. Sorai does such a good job stopping Royal Knights. Does such a good job stopping the Shine Gray matchup. It does such a good. I mean, literally last week at locals. Last week I was only playing 3 Sorai. I was playing the 9th rookie. I decided right before filming this to take out that 9th rookie and put in the 4th Sorai back. But I had the stupidest luck. I was playing against a Genku X/Jessmon style deck.
Yeah.
And with my 3 Sorai, they hit one every game in security near the beginning. I just devastated them and completely shut them off.
Right.
And I was able to use them so efficiently, and it's like, I can't not play this as a 4-of. It's too good.
It's insane.
Those of you who don't know what this does, want to come play at your locals, but trash top 4 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. Your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards cannot attack. So it does a great job of really stopping those wide boards. It does a good job of if they have a really threatening stack, right? It is important to notice the whole X antibody, right? That cannot be stripped as far as this goes. X antibody can be sent to the bottom of the deck with the Shoutmon Superior Mode due to the ruling of the card. So it is kind of interesting how we have a little bit of both in the deck. I mean, and then activate the card's main effect when it pops in security. It's not blue flare, so it's not searchable, unfortunately, but you do draw a lot of cards. You draw a lot of cards.
Because everybody's going to ask, Jeff, you know it's going to be, people are going to be grilling you.
Yep.
People have been grilling me. Why no Ice Wall?
Okay, so
it's the best card. It's the best blue card. You get one. Why no Ice Wall, so Jeff? Come on.
To me,
don't you want to win?
To me, there is no doubt that Ice Wall deserves to be restricted, and that Ice Wall is a very powerful card, and that for one memory, I've heard a lot of people say when you build blue, you build a 49 card deck. Basil, shout out to you for saying that, and I know why. I understand the reasoning. Ice Wall has never been my playstyle and my preference. And when you're building blue flare, you kind of got to build to your preference. I like I like a consistent deck.
My man.
To me, this is a quickly turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 at the latest. You're getting that MetalGreymon. You're going full gas. You're just smacking them in the face, right? This is a fast deck. So yes, Sorai is in here for the defensive purpose. Right, Ice Wall is arguably another defensive card that you could put
Metal
in.
Gray is too.
Yeah.
Both Metal Grays. So I'm with you 100%. I don't play Ice Wall. I got dragged over the coals about it.
Yeah.
People are throwing odds and statistics at me, and I was like...
I get it. Trust me. I know why Ice Wall's strong. But when the card is a 1-of, I don't like relying on it as a security anyways. It's like, personally, I feel like I've lost the game if I have to rely on Sorai in my security to win, even as a 3-4-of, where I don't want to have to get to my security to save me. So Ice Wall is very strong, does a great job stopping. It's awesome against the Royal Knights matchup if you do it right before their turn. I know why people put it in the deck. I think it's a personal preference thing. If you like it, try it. If not, I get it. But we're at the end of the deck, so I'll just talk about a couple tech things. You do not have to play this Greymon. You do not have to play a 4 of the red Greymon, although I strongly recommend the 4 red Greymon. That, to me, is recommended. I see a lot of lists playing 6 male Birdramons. I do see why they play 6. I see some lists playing 2 metal cyber launchers and stuff. Those are all good tech spots that you could fit in that Ice Wall if you really want it. I see a lot of people play like Great Malevolence for an extra removal for quartz or whatever. To me, I felt like I haven't needed any of that. So if you need to, Lanamon, you could fit into kind of hybrid for game. I wouldn't recommend a 3rd Zeke, but I see why people do. You don't have to play the Cross 7. There are other techs you could do, but so this is where my deck list is at. I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to stick to for regionals. If it changes, I'll be sure to let you know, but that's kind of it for like my thoughts, my ideas on Blue Flare, man. Any closing thoughts?
No, I'm with you, man. Consistency is key in Blue Flare. And that's about it. I mean, just read your cards, know what they do. But yeah,
me. I need to. There's so many cards effects I missed on this deck. But thank you guys so much for joining. Cannot wait to get some more content your way. And if you're not already, please subscribe, like, ring that notification bell, do all the things. Comment, let us know what your Blue Flare list look like, and come argue with me about why Decker needs to be in here.
Or Ice Wall.
But I am attached to the Decker package, and I do like hearing good arguments for that. So as always, cheers. We'll see you next time.